Hello there.
Hello
Every
there.
time. Never fails.
I have to
General
say it.
Kenobi. General Kenobi.
I have to. You know I have to. All right. So we got a pretty good stream that, or at least I think it's going to be pretty
I dare
good.
say great stream.
Yes. Let me think here. I want to start. I want to start off with a couple other things, but you know what? I'm actually going to let you take it from here real quick, Psycho. I have to go grab something. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce the first topic, though, and that is the current state of Star Wars Part 2. We talked about it a little bit in the last stream, but now I felt like there were still things that needed to be said. So I'll let you go ahead and start with it, and I'll be right back. Give me
Yeah,
just a moment.
absolutely. So I was thinking about this just over the course of the day, and it's something that I feel really conflicted about because
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
on one side, we see like kind of what's going on with like the fan base, which on one hand is really great, and on other sides, has some toxic tendencies. The same thing can really be said for like the Gina situation, but so there's some bad things that are going on, but at the same time we're having like it's like a renaissance of Star Wars content. Like we're staring down the barrel of the most Star Wars content that we've ever like really had. I mean, I remember, back, pre-Disney, it was like there was no promise really of anything outside of the Clone Wars show, and some video games being made. So in that aspect, it's really exciting that we have a lot more content, but I'm not necessarily happy with how certain things are being handled. And I was partially really excited when Disney first bought Star Wars because I was like, I've waited my whole because up to this point, there's not been an actual film in theaters since Revenge of the Sith or
but about 10 years. Yeah, 10 years.
Yeah, so I was like, wow, I've waited like half my life, like over half my life to see another a Star Wars movie. So I was really excited about it. And now looking back, I'm kind of like, I don't really know like why I was so optimistic about Star Wars getting out of the hands of the original creator into the hands of a big, huge corporation that's obviously just looking at this thing as a monopoly. So I don't know. That's my thing. I really, on one hand, I really would like to see Star Wars still be in the hands of its original creator. I feel like a lot of because me and my fiance were having this conversation earlier. She was like, why would you give up? Why would you sell the rights to something that that you create? And I was like, well, our man was kind of manipulated a little bit, into thinking.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know, Bob Iger, I guess, and Kathleen Kennedy. I don't really know who all was involved in the.
It was Bob Iger, and I'll help explain it if you can. But what happened was Bob Iger said, George was like, "Here, I got the outlines for 7, 8, 9 right here, right?" Mm-hmm. And he said that will you use my scripts? And Bob Iger said, yes, we will use your scripts. And then, well, they ended up using elements, but they did not end up using his full scripts. And George felt betrayed by that. He felt betrayed by what Disney did. He felt betrayed by what Kathleen did because he trusted her because, of Spielberg.
Yeah.
She worked. And so he felt very betrayed by what Bob Iger and Kathleen, because he vouched for her to be the president of Lucasfilm. That was what happened. Lucas vouched for Kathleen Kennedy to be the president. So if you're really asking yourself, why is Kathleen there? It was all George. George Lucas was the one that vouched for Kathleen to be there. And
What's
to
up, TD?
Star
You're
Wars.
doing well. Welcome to the stream. We're just discussing Ryan versus George. Continue, Bounty Hunter Network. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, it's and we're talking about right now the current state of Star Wars Part 2. This continues from what everyone else was talking about last stream, and I was not here. But but I kind of went over what I felt about it. I kind of feel like Star Wars was in a bad direction, now heading in a good. To me, if you want me to discuss the current state of Star Wars, which is very important to me, I feel like that we need to stop worrying, because there is so much more good on the horizon right now. I feel like Kathleen Kennedy is getting shoved out. You can tell. Look at all the projects. She only has one that has like her full directing credit on it, and that's The Acolyte. The rest of them are either Patty Jenkins Rogue Squadron or Jon Favreau and Filoni. Literally, Kathleen Kennedy has like no movies or creative control right now. I know she has like the High Republic, but mainly Pablo Hidalgo and Claudia Gray and all them deal with that. Kathleen Kennedy really has nothing at Disney right now to do. She's just.
I think that there's a lot. Like, there's so much content, and the thing is that it's really hard to say. I just see potential, I guess, is all I can say.
I did, and we have Bad Batch coming out May the 4th, and we got Book of Boba Fett coming out this December, I believe. That's what they said.
Mm-hmm. So hopefully it doesn't end up getting pushed back, but yeah, it's supposed to be December.
And Bad Batch is definitely coming out May the 4th. So we have all this content to look forward to. Plus Mando, I really heard Mando is going to be out like right after the Book of Boba Fett. Right, they're going to be right next to each other there. So, if you wanted me to tell you what I think about it, I think that we have so much more on the horizon. Mando Season 3, Bad Batch, Rogue Squadron, probably even more Star Wars movies other than Rogue Squadron 2, Rangers of the New Republic, more books and comics and everything, more Thrawn, it looks like we're getting everything right now that we kind of asked for to see more of.
But does the Judas situation change how excited you are about Season 3 of Mando, or are you the same level of excitement?
Really, the Gina Carano thing kind of brought things down, but to me, the thing is I'm still very excited.
Yeah, me too. That's how I feel about it.
Because I'm like, when I'm looking, it looks like Disney's changing course secretly. Like I said, it looks like they're getting rid of Kathleen's plans. Because look, if she only has like one show and she barely has any control over the High Republic, like I said, that's more Pablo Hidalgo's thing.
I'm upset about the Gina thing, but more than anything, I'm just excited to see where the story is going to go. Like, that's the main thing that, as a fan, I'm interested in, is just seeing what's going to happen to these characters. I'm very invested in all of them at this point, and I'm not going to jump ship really for anything at this point. So, no matter what happens, even if Mando completely gets run into the ground, which I don't see it why it would, because it shows so much promise at this point, I'm going to be totally watching every episode just to see what happens.
Yeah, because now we just got confirmation of the new Favreau series. I think it's under Favreau, but Luke Skywalker Academy or whatever. I mean, that is going to be amazing. And we're going to have a little Grogu there. And I mean, I don't know. I'm scared it's either Grogu becomes a Knight of Ren or he dies. So get ready, everyone. Baby Yoda's going to get stabbed on screen.
I hope not. We've not seen much child death in Star Wars in a while, so let's go.
Oh my goodness.
We're off to a
it's-
great start. This is the first potential cancellation of the Force Collective so far. 10 minutes into the stream, so let's go.
I'm amazed we lasted to this
Me too.
long.
This is the thing that I don't think we're monetized because we would have been demonetized already. It's okay though.
Yeah.
No,
Exactly.
I didn't. No, but what I was saying is, it's like we know what happened because if they're from what we know, they're keeping the sequels part of Mando. Like it's Mandalorian, Rangers of the New Republic sequel trilogy. Right, all the shows lead up to the sequels. So I'm saying Luke's Academy got burnt to the ground. All the students died except for 5 of them because they were the Knights of Ren. 5 or 6, whatever. So that means either Baby Yoda is a Knights of Ren or he dies. I'm sorry, but what happens to Baby Yoda? They killed him if they are not diverse enough. TD said. It's true. They will kill Baby Yoda.
Oh my god.
Well, it is good. I mean, going off of what you guys were previously talking about, it seems like you guys are excited. It's good to have some positivity in this time of sort of negativity. At least that's what I think. So, I mean, it's always good to be positive. Me personally, I was very excited about a lot of the things that they were going to do. When Gina got fired, it sort of ruined it a little bit for me, but I still want to see it. So
For me, like to me, it never really got ruined enough for me because to me, Disney's hypocritical, like bad, but I understand. I get because you can kind of understand where they're coming from. I know she was trying to do a good message. But Disney tries to keep the best values alive, and I have a lot of controversy with their actors. Like if they say anything out of line, well, let's just say they cut them off the chopping block. That's how. That's why they've got new actors for most characters in like Marvel or even with Marvel. Right before Disney bought them. Terrence Howard was like, I want more money or I'm not going to be Mormon. Look what happened to him. He got fired.
I think this is the issue with Star Wars being owned by this big, this big company is that I mean, they look at it like a monopoly, and anything that could threaten they see could threaten, what they're working to build, they're gonna get rid of.
Yeah, because what I saw from it, because I'm more, I don't know. I've been in this bit, Force Collective kind of just started a few weeks ago. With his like first ever stream and all that, and I guess I kind of see more of the business side because I've kind of been here a little longer. I did this last year under a different name. All the videos of mine are still on my channel, but I did last year. But what I'm talking about here really is Disney wants people at the parks. They want somebody that is just talk about Star Wars and promote Star Wars, say you love Baby Yoda and stuff. I don't think they really wanted Gina to say the stuff about COVID because then that kind of creates controversy for your company. Because they want people to go to the parks and stuff, and then they feel like one of the actors disagrees. That's a bad look. I kind of look at it like that. I'm not saying it was right. I'm just saying I guess if you look at it through a company's perspective, I could understand.
Yeah, why. I mean, I could see why they would. I mean, but that just doesn't mean that they should.
It doesn't mean that they should, but you can see the why.
I can see your point, though.
I may disagree on the So as to the business question of it, I think two reasons. I think one, at least from the information we've gotten, what little we've gotten about the whole situation, it didn't seem to be related to any of her COVID statements, and I haven't gone through her social media feed to see everything she said, but it seemed to be tied to that one tied to the Nazi remark. And
Yeah.
but
Yes.
yeah, but related as to it being a business decision, I don't think it was, because
Me neither.
if you think about it,
Yeah, it
think-
felt more. What I was saying too, it felt more like a Lucasfilm decision than a Disney than a Bob Iger decision.
I think it was more of kind of a ideological just
Yeah.
corporate culture, like
Yeah.
executive decision. I think as far as a business decision, because if you think about it, and I don't think people ask this question enough. A lot of people have asked, when cancel Disney Plus was trending, like, oh, are you actually going to cancel Disney Plus, or are you actually going to follow through with that? The real question ought to be, and I think a lot of people have. I mean, I've followed through with it. A lot of people have followed through with it. I think the question that needs to be asked is, because from my understanding, Gina Carano was saying a lot of, like, she was on social media for long before she was kicked out a couple of months ago. She would this wasn't new. This wasn't out of the blue that this is the first controversial thing she posted. So she'd been doing this for several months. And what I find interesting is, I do remember some people were like, didn't like what she said, but what I never saw was people, mass cancellations because of what she said. So it wasn't affecting it was not affecting Disney business wise.
Well,
That's an excellent point. And what I think that's a key thing that we should take away from this is, I have seen a lot of people disagree with things that that Gina said, and that's perfectly fine. I think it deserves to be. Should she lose her job over it? That's very extreme. Like, even if somebody says something that you think is completely wrong, they should be able to say it. That's at the end of the day, that's how I see it.
Yeah.
Before we go on, I've got a couple things I need to say. So first of all, welcome, Chrono. I'm glad to see that you made it.
What's up, buddy? We're glad that you made it.
AOA or Harkin, however you want me to call you. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing really well.
It's really good to finally have you on here. I'm very happy.
Just call me Sir or Sir Ao. That's fine.
Okay, I'll call you Sir.
My apologies. Daylight savings ended for me last week, so I kind of went, oh great. So I'll wake up at 8 o'clock. I've got an hour to set everything up, and the stream will start at 9. And then of course I wake up at 8 and realize, oh crap, you guys are already online. Oh no!
Hey, look, it's okay. Better late than never.
I had, my time changed too, so don't worry. But I was like, wait, is it even starting now? Like, I kind of got confused too, so that's why I just came in.
The time change? Am I missing something?
Yeah.
No,
I've just come out of daylight savings. I'm at the bottom end of the world, so.
Yeah.
It's fine, man.
Hey, it's
from down under.
Wait, what? Wait, what? Sorry, wait, what?
I live in Australia.
Ah,
yeah. I thought I know this. I know who Chrono is. I knew that. I was like, you guys know something here, right? Yeah, but he is. So, yeah. But
well, it's great to have you on here, sir.
Yeah.
I'm really happy about this. So you haven't really gotten to say nothing about this, but what is your opinion on the current state of Star Wars? I'm just going to go ahead and let you say something before I go on with what I had to say.
I think you can add another civil war to the Star Wars mythos, and that would be the one between the Kathleen Kennedy faction and the Old Guard.
Yes.
So we've got a new empire.
We do.
Yeah, that's an excellent way to put it.
Yep.
And the thing is that and this is actually something that sort of is a point that wasn't brought up in the last stream, but I think should be brought up, is the fact that we kind of have 3 factions and
Yes.
in the fandom at the moment, and in one of the factions we have even factions within factions. And the factions are the Old Guard, the Rebellion, pretty much us. We have the Kathleen Kennedy fans, and that's the faction that actually has a split, because you have the absolute ideologues that actually don't give a shit about Star Wars.
Yeah.
They just want to see their ideology in it. And the second faction in the second sub faction is the people that just want to be fans.
Yeah.
And have been a little bit hoodwinked. So, those are the people that will run in to defend.
Yes.
Run into defend, and then when they are given facts, they're sort of like, oh, damn. I don't know.
It's because they don't want to face reality.
No,
Yeah,
it's not. It's not so much. It's not so much that they don't want to face reality. It's just sort of a case of they think they're right. They've run in to defend because they're right, and then they're shown that they're wrong, and they don't know how to deal with that.
I think, I think there's also I think there's also one more faction to that too.
Oh yeah, no, there is a third. There's John
Favreau and Filoni. That
No. John Favreau and Filoni would be part of the Old Guard.
The Old Guard, yeah.
The third faction in this fandom,
yes,
are the normies. Are the normies. They've got no idea what's going on. They just see the Twitter fights, and
and they're like, "What?
What's going on? I don't know what's going on here. I just came here to watch Space Wizards."
I came here to see Jar Jar, and I get this.
Yeah, the Jar Jar faction. That is a good way of describing them. The Jar Jar faction.
The Jar Jar faction. That's amazing.
And the thing is that and this is the let's just say the scary thing for the Kathleen Kennedy faction is that the Jar Jar faction are more with us,
yes,
than they are with them. Because
Agreed.
they see they don't quite know what's going on, but then they look at Geode and go, what? What? No. Oh, Luke Skywalker's over there. I'm going to go over there.
Yeah.
There's
Darth Vader. I'm on that side.
They look at the Old Guard.
5 minutes in, and we've not rolled our intro.
Oh.
Amazing.
How did that?
I mean, there is a Jar Jar faction, though. I mean,
we are a part of the Jar Jar faction.
They want
Jar Jar.
Look, I'm going to roll the intro, and then we'll pick up where we were. So, here we go.
So great.
Well, yay. I can't believe I messed that up.
Pretty awesome.
I'll just finish.
Yeah, go ahead.
My point.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No. but the thing is that everything sort of from the old guard faction is what's selling at the moment. Everything that is drawing people in and getting them excited from Star Wars is from the old guard faction. And the big question is the Empire going to destroy Coruscant?
Yeah.
Oh, no, are they going to destroy Alderaan?
No. They've already blown up Alderaan by essentially getting rid of Gina Carano.
Yes, because she was from Alderaan.
That's the example.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the big example.
That's right. That's a good way to put it.
It's a great way to put it, actually.
And because I mean the thing is that if you watch some of the other YouTubers like Overlord DVD and all that, everyone that's got their sort of little behind the scenes people. Cara Dune was going to be a big character for a lot of other things.
Character. Yeah. So
having essentially Alderaan blowing up on Jon Favreau, that's a big shot across the bow.
No, from what we hear now, they might be even losing Pedro. So
but I mean the thing is that
I don't know, man.
It's one of the but I mean the thing is that the Mandalorian is behind a mask a lot of the time.
That is true. That is true. You're right.
It's a little bit easier covering that than a character that is unmasked all the time,
except for a few scenes,
and something that was going to be
huge
branching off. I mean, to put an example, it would be like killing Flash in the Arrowverse after the second episode in the Arrow. It kind of messes with your ability to create the spin-off shows.
That's why I feel agnostic about the future, I think, and not quite optimistic. It's kind of it makes you question the amount of control that Favreau and Filoni have over their content.
But I mean the thing is that they do have a lot of control over it. It's just sort of a case of there are ways of Kathleen Kennedy to damage that. And the thing is that, is she going to, like I said, blow up Coruscant, for an example, and just leave the franchise in an absolute irreparability? Because at this present moment, everything that's done can be fixed.
It can. It looks like
you can get Gina Carano back. But the thing is that I honestly don't know what the equivalent to Coruscant is for Lucasfilm and Disney. I'm just using it as an example because if Coruscant blew up in the Star Wars universe, everyone was fucked.
I'll tell you what the equivalent is to Jon Favreau's faction more than Coruscant. It's like Jon Favreau and Filoni are having a party on Endor, and then the Death Star's about to blow them up or something. I mean, it's like
no. But I mean, what I'm saying is the equivalent is that I don't know what can be broken down in Lucasfilm that will just make Lucasfilm and Star Wars just completely unsalvageable.
I have a couple ideas.
And
think,
sorry, the big question is Kathleen Kennedy that much of an ideologue to actually do that?
I don't think anymore. If you look at a lot of it now, she doesn't seem to be that big anymore. With only having the High Republic and then the Acolyte.
She holds the purse strings.
She does, but she's
creative control. She doesn't. But I mean, the thing is that she was still powerful enough to get rid of Gina Carano.
That's
the thing.
I feel like that was more of a fine, we'll get rid of Gina if you'll leave us alone type thing.
No,
I don't know.
No,
I think that was the Favreau faction. I don't know. There was something going on there with that.
It was office politics, but no, that was a direct attack.
It was
a direct attack. It wasn't I'm hurting, so I'm going to make everyone else hurting. No, that was calculated, targeted.
I meant Kathleen Kennedy did stuff like that. I think Favreau knew he just had to accept it and move on for now. Honestly,
well, the thing is, I don't think he did accept it. Honestly, I don't think he's happy about it.
I think I don't think he did personally, but I think for how to move forward and how Kathleen Kennedy and Disney was being with her, I think he had to in a way. I think he had to in a way and just say, we'll figure something out.
He has to be okay with it. She is technically his boss.
He doesn't have the power to overturn this. So in the end, he just has to bide his time. Exactly. Marshal these forces, and when the time's right, strike. Mm-hmm. But at this present moment, for him, that's not now.
I'm going to let Commander Tono finish up her point that she was going to make, and then I've got what I got to say. So go ahead, Commander.
Yeah, I think in terms of your question about what is Coruscant, what is blowing up Coruscant, what could that look like? I think the two top possibilities that come to mind. Number one, I think people were really happy with what they saw of Luke Skywalker back in December. But if the next time we visit Luke, if that is, if they do something major to make people unhappy again, that could be a big issue. Or for some other big legacy character. The other possibility, and it isn't more of something that they blow up, but it's something that they kind of fail to do. I think one thing, the first 2 seasons of The Mandalorian were very successful because you could watch those and you could either in your mind hold that the sequel trilogy is canon and you could make it fit. You could also hold that the sequel trilogy isn't canon and that could still work with that show. It kind of left this, it opened doors for people's own headcanons. I think one reason, and this is just my speculation, I think one reason that we had initially planned such a long gap between season 2 and the next season of The Mandalorian, I almost get the vibe that they were waiting out to see how people would react to the reintroduction of Luke Skywalker, that version of Luke.
Yes.
Seeing how people would like it and see if where to go forward with that. But the thing is, they've got a great opportunity to carve out a multi-canon solution for Star Wars, and I think that would heal a lot of the fan base because you have the issue of that with this ties into the state of Star Wars with the sequels. You have a lot of mixed reactions. You have people who loathe them entirely. You have people who are in love with them, and you have people also, probably most people, who there are things that they appreciated about them that they almost had, but there are also a lot of problems with them, a lot of missed opportunities. And I think the best way to not repeat the mistakes that Disney made in kind of decanonizing the EU and throwing that all in the garbage and upsetting a lot of people, and then replacing it with these new stories, and some of which have been, they had a lot of potential but were poorly developed. I think the way to not repeat that mistake is to not. I'm not going to throw anyone's stuff in the garbage. If you like and have kind of, I think, being open to having just multiple canons, and like you could, and just like, or just, and there could be many ways you could do that. You could, yeah, you could do multiverses. You could do the whole world between worlds. Use that Rebels episode to split the timeline. You could do that, or you could just say it's like there's no one Star Wars canon. It's like a buffet. You can pick and choose. If you like this combination of movies plus this combination of shows, you can that works. And so for someone like Favreau, where I get the vibe that he doesn't like how Luke was handled in The Last Jedi, let creators like him do what they like and make their own Luke how they like, and other people who liked what Rian Johnson did, they can enjoy that. And if people want to make more stories that tie into that version of that kind of version of the canon, they can do that too. So I think that's probably the best way forward. But the problem is, the one way Disney can screw this up is if in the future episode of the future season of The Mandalorian, they decide to try and go for one grand unifying timeline for everything. I think that would be a mistake, because we need to let multiple people each enjoy their own canons, and this happens in other franchises, and I think it should, I think we should maybe think about that for Star Wars too.
I completely agree with that, honestly.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, it would. I think I also talked about the world between worlds. I really think that's what they're doing. If you look at it with Ahsoka, that's literally, the banner for the Ahsoka show? It's literally the world between worlds logos and stuff. It makes me think they're using the time travel to do something.
See, that's what me and Psycho sort of covered in the last, the Tuesday stream that we did, talking about Ahsoka and her importance to the future of Star Wars. I'm not going to go into that right now, because that's not exactly what's relevant, but they could use that to change. Well, no, it might actually be relevant. I mean, since the future of Star Wars, we're not talking exactly about the future, but what they can do.
Yeah. The current state. I think they're going to try and fix the current state by using that with the Ahsoka show. I don't know. It makes sense if they're.
I honestly think that might have been the direction that they were going. Whether that truly was or not, I don't know. I mean, I don't work for Lucasfilm, so I wouldn't know for sure.
Yeah.
Marshall, what's up, buddy?
We need more canon to show those rebel scum that the Empire didn't do anything wrong.
Genocide.
The Empire did nothing wrong.
Yeah, except blow up a few cities and planets and glass a few planets. Just a few small stuff.
If you think about it, both of them are bad, good or bad, depending on each side. They're very
from a
great.
certain point of view.
I mean, they both have destroyed millions of planets and star stations filled with millions of people, probably.
Now my input on the current state of Star Wars. I've got a few points I want to make. So first of all,
sorry, you talk. Yeah, talk.
As far as what you said about losing Pedro, it's mostly, I'd say, because he's also working on The Last of Us, and those are The Mandalorian and The Last of Us are two major projects. It's hard, if not impossible, to work on two major projects at the same time. So that's probably why we're losing Pedro. At least, him being there physically.
Yeah.
Anybody can voice act from some other place. So that and plus he's always in the helmet, always in armor.
Yeah.
Every once in a while he shows his face, but that's like, how much screen time did he have without his helmet? That's the point I'm trying to make.
I think it was like 10 minutes, 10 to 20 minutes at least.
I'd say less than that.
I'd say less than that.
Less than that.
I don't know the Luke Skywalker scene padded on for a bit.
And not 10 minutes though. I want to say maybe
Yeah, I'm
good
saying the
maybe
part
7,
with
no.
him in the with Bill Burr.
2 to 4 minutes worth at the very least.
The part with Bill Burr was long. He
I'm
had to
looking it
sum
up. I'm looking it up. I want to
that
see
whole
I'm trying to Google it.
part.
Yeah, do that, Psycho. Okay, so
Sorry.
other points I want to make. I mean, as far as you guys sort of touched on it already, but just putting things into perspective, the current state of Star Wars, in my opinion, isn't good, and that's because one great example is the fact that they think that a rock is a good character to put into Star Wars. And that right there, like the moment I heard about Geode, and this ain't about Geode, I'm just using him as an example.
Geode.
But
He's a great Twitter account.
He is
Yeah.
a great
Tweeter.
character.
He
What are
is.
you talking about? Like,
he is. But as far as like a character in the book, I mean, they're personifying a rock, making it into a character. I don't personally think that works, especially in Star Wars. They're trying. See, the thing is, if I heard right, that rock is like can use the Force or something like that. But the thing is, rocks aren't living things, and the Force resides in all living things. They never said anything about non-living things. So is he some sort of sentient rock? Or what's going on with that? I don't know, but it's just things I don't understand, and I don't think that it works. So, putting that into perspective, that's just one of the few things. And going on to what Commander Tono said about Luke, one thing about when you said that Jon Favreau wasn't happy about what they did with Luke, that got me thinking about the entire sequel trilogy and how they did Luke. So, if you think about it, the whole sequel trilogy is literally about Luke's failure and somebody having to clean it up.
Yeah.
Because if he didn't try to kill his nephew, then the Knights of Ren wouldn't have been formed. I'd say Snoke probably would have had to find a different way to come into power, because I'd say that taking Luke down was his way of coming into power in the first place. He probably didn't show himself really until he took, knocked Luke down a
Luke
peg.
off the table.
Yeah.
I felt like I think even George. See, I don't think George would have done it that bad, but I still think George would have done it, not Luke down a peg, because he's remember, he's like the hero of the galaxy. He saved everyone from the Empire. He's thinking good of himself, and then suddenly something goes bad. And then now Luke has to go into hiding because of Kylo or whoever. We can even name, Mara Jade or his kid from the comic. We can name anyone we could bring in to fix it. But it's like someone, he hurt somebody or whatever, and they turn to the dark side. Like Luke had a failure. I feel like that could have worked still.
But I mean, the thing is that they didn't take him down a peg. They tore him off the wall.
Well,
They threw him off a cliff.
The thing is that you don't, and I don't know if you've ever met someone who is just an absolute internal optimist like Luke. They don't get torn down.
Yeah,
you might punch them to the ground, but they will get back up, and especially if stuff is going bad, that will get them off that mat, so quickly.
Because it's their motivating factor.
Yeah, absolutely. So the thing is that, if you wanted to take him down a peg, which I think even then is still probably not the right thing to do, you wouldn't make it a
fail,
personal failure.
Hobo.
It would be something like he didn't get there in time, or he didn't learn this ability that he needed to learn. so he went off to learn it. That would be taking him down a peg. And
Yeah,
that would
I think that's
also
what they
sort of
wanna
take him
do.
off. That would sort of take him off the field as well. But
Yeah.
what they did in The Last Jedi wasn't taking him down a peg, it was ripping him off the wall. And the thing is that if you do not understand people like Luke, yeah, they wouldn't go hobo for 20 years. They would probably
that's
probably
not
go,
maybe mad.
they would probably go to their bedrooms, play some emo music for an hour, and then come back out swinging.
Ancient Jedi text, okay.
Come out swinging and going, yeah, come on, let's go. I mean, the thing is that if he saw the dark side of the Force taking over Ben, it would be sort of like, come on, let's go, round 2. I've done this before.
Yeah,
you're not
gonna try
gonna
to kill him.
No,
I mean,
it wouldn't be shing. I'm going to now kill my nephew. It's bring it on, bring it on. I can do. Yeah, it would be that. It'd be that Captain America sort of. I can do this all day. Even though he's bleeding from his lips and all that type of situation. But yeah, so I think that's the end of my point. I don't know where to go.
I was
great
going to
point,
right off
though.
of that right quick and say, we got to remember that this is the same kid that saw the corpses of his aunt and uncle.
Yes.
And saw that, and instead, like, he could have. That's a very traumatizing thing. He could have sulked on that, but instead of doing so, he was like, "I'm going to go on this mission and do something good." And I think that serves the point of exactly what you said, and it's that it's just not consistent with his character. And that's what I feel like annoys most of us. And I want to make a separate. I want to kind of go back to something we were talking about earlier when we were talking about Pedro and voicing, Mando, since he's involved in other projects and whatnot, like The Last of Us. And I just pulled up this article from December of 2019. On IndieWire that talks about Pedro, since he's busy with all these other projects and he has so little time where he actually shows his face. He's actually not always in the suit. They're already doing that.
Goodness me, I think it's Clint Eastwood's son is what I heard. Is the guy that is his stuntman? It's Clint Eastwood's son. I forget his name, or maybe John Wayne. I forget, but it's one of like Clint
Brendan
Eastwood
Wayne.
person.
Yeah, you're right. It's John. I think it's John. Somebody related to John Wayne. It's Brendan Wayne.
Yeah, but he's already in the suit. All we need to do is a few voice lines and reveal his face from time to time, and he's done. That's it.
Yeah, it's an easy paycheck for Pedro.
It is, but the thing with Last of Us 2, I mean, if you're talking about Luke real quick, I mean, he's going to get his head beat in with a golf club in Last of Us, just like Luke did. They're going to get the fame just the same way. So, I mean, it doesn't matter anymore anyway. Everyone is dying and getting defamed, it seems. So, I mean, it's just like, I love these characters, but it's like, why do you do this to them? Treat them like crap and then expect us to like it.
Because it's about sending a message.
It's not about sending a message. It's what TV said. If they're not woke enough, we will destroy them. And then, well,
after all, that is a message, though.
Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, I could understand why Luke would go dark. I actually like the
No.
idea of Luke turning to the dark side. It's a thing that has been hinted at before, and it's a thing that could actually work. It has happened. I mean, I know there's like alternate stories and stuff where they did turn Luke to the dark side, and it's like I love the potential of what you could do with it, but it wouldn't work with what they were trying to do.
But yet again, it goes back to the psychology of an eternal optimist. They will never go to the dark side. They the closest you would sort of get is what is it?
Flirtation of it in a way.
No, a flirtation in rage, I guess you could say, in righteous rage.
Kind of like in Return of the Jedi, when Vader like mentions Leia, like turning Leia to the dark side, and it seems like he gives into his anger for a second, but I would consider that probably righteous rage.
Yeah. But I mean, the thing is that to sort of that's probably as dark as someone with that psychology would go.
That is true. I to me, it just feels like you can see what they were setting up there, and I did not like what they did with Last Jedi. Right? Of course, everyone really doesn't. We'll get into that when we talk about Rian versus Lucas.
Actually, not everybody. There's a certain person I know that likes The Last Jedi, but he's cool. So, I mean, I understand some of his points too. I've already mentioned him once about that. You know, I mean, there are people that actually like it, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I wanted to make a point real quick.
Go,
so, the comment that I posted on here just now, Chrono, he said they made the most hopeful person in the galaxy consider killing his nephew over a vision. After all he had been through, it makes no sense he would go that dark in a heartbeat.
That's what I was trying.
Now that gave me an idea, or not gave me an idea, but more like it sort of made me realize something. So why would they give in to something like that over a vision? It got me thinking about Anakin. He gave into the dark side because he kept having visions about Padme dying, and I feel like it's sort of a Skywalker thing. They keep getting these Force visions about somebody doing something terrible or dying, and they're like, you know what? Let's just turn to the dark side. I mean, the similarities between those two things are uncanny, in my opinion. But honestly, I don't think that Luke should have gave in at all. I don't feel like he would have been that kind of person to do that.
Well, no, listen, Darth Vader. Listen, his father wasn't one of the worst people in the galaxy. They blew up planets, did everything, and he still forgave him and said, "You know, I'll never turn to the dark side." The hero of the galaxy. Now, listen. I understand when like Kylo burnt down his temple. Yeah, I'd be devastated too. You know, all my students have just died, or 5 of them turned to the dark side. It's not like, but I wouldn't like sulk on it for 30 years. I'd be like, you know, I'd get over it, be done with him, and try to fight back. I wouldn't be on an island.
Looks at that his father is not only one of the worst people in the galaxy, but one of the angstiest people in the galaxy. So perhaps the way for Luke to behave the way he did in The Last Jedi is just kind of runs in his genetics.
Yeah, I mean,
he hates sand too.
Like I was about to say, and Chrono actually made the same point that I was going to make. Anakin was being done this way because he was being manipulated. And honestly, I think that Palpatine was the one giving him these Force visions in the first place. But that could be a whole other thing. I can discuss my theories about that kind of stuff. but Anakin was being manipulated by Palpatine, and he was getting all these visions to because Palpatine had this big plan that he would take advantage of his vulnerability in these certain areas, and
Yeah.
he would appeal to those, trying to make himself seem like somebody that can keep solve all those specific problems that he has. So Luke, as far as I know, wasn't being manipulated by Snoke. I mean, they didn't see the beauty of the prequels is there's a lot of untold stuff, but you can sort of like
Yeah, you
imagine
can
it.
sort of piece it together.
And,
Yeah.
And I mean, it's sort of implied as well. I mean, it's the way it's written. It's sort of implied.
It's a very
So,
nuanced story.
yeah, but in the sequels, it's very plain and it doesn't give you much to go off of. So, I mean,
There was a lot more world building in the prequels than the
Yeah.
sequel. There was almost
Yeah,
zero world
Yes,
building in
definitely.
the sequels.
I felt zero
And-
familiarity with like any of the planets or really, I mean, any of the landscapes. It just felt completely foreign.
Well,
I hated that.
in the Force Awakens, I originally thought the one of the planets that Starkiller Base blew up was Coruscant, and then
I did as well.
Yes.
Then I
Had
learned
this me and
ages
Shane had
afterwards.
this conversation so many times.
Yeah. We
that
know
oh
what
no, it
planet
wasn't.
that
It
is.
wasn't Coruscant, and I mean the thing was that we had no idea what the New Republic was,
exactly.
and so hello, world building. Did you forget that? Oh wait, hang on, they didn't
Instead,
forget
we
really
got
that.
did
light
that
They
speed
published
shipping.
it in books.
No,
Yeah,
and
that's
in
the
Jedi
problem,
Fallen
though.
Order. Hello, Ilum. That's Starkiller Base.
That's the
Starkiller
problem.
Base is Ilum.
If it's just in the books, like not everybody reads the books. And
Yeah.
I'm sort of that kind of person too. It takes a little bit for me to get to read things, mainly because of time
Yeah.
and all that stuff. But if you just go watch
Yeah,
a movie,
Ilum Starkiller in Jedi Fallen Order. Because when you return, Ilum is completely decked out with the Empire gear, like just how Starkiller Base was. It looks exactly the same. If you go back, there's the carve around the planet where the big laser would go. Ilum in Jedi Fallen Order is Starkiller Base with the Force crystals. That
there
it,
was oh,
and
sorry,
in
go
Clone
ahead.
Wars too, they did that as well with the Padawans and the Kyber crystals. That's what I was trying to say. Ilum is, if you look at it, it is Starkiller. They established on it, but in later things, they should have just said this was an old ancient planet for the Jedi or something, and they don't leave it out of like your main movie where it gets destroyed. You know?
The funny thing about Starkiller Base. First, I want to read this comment because I love it.
Yeah, go ahead. That's fine.
There was a lot of
It's
sand
awesome.
around that temple. Maybe the sand and racing.
It's
I'm
a
not
great
stretching
comment.
here.
That
Great
one
one.
genuinely made me laugh. I was trying to hold it back while you guys were talking, but that was a good one. Okay, so the thing about Starkiller Base, since it is established that it's supposed to be Ilum, didn't the Death Star like use Kyber crystal to power its weapon? Why did
It did.
Ilum, which was full of Kyber crystals, have to be powered by the sun that was, I guess, incredibly close, I guess, to Ilum. And not only that, but like, who thought it was a good idea to completely extinguish a sun in a galaxy? Just as a
I
power
thought
source?
about that honestly.
Because
Yes.
they're
I think just
evil.
JJ wasn't aware of it.
I mean, that's
Don't you know it's a blood moon? They're evil. I mean,
I want to believe he wasn't aware of it, but at the same time, I'm like, what were they? You know what? You're probably right.
Well,
But-
and yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, I was gonna say it's, and
Yeah,
this is something I was gonna say actually about Ryan, and this may get into kind of Ryan versus George Lucas and discussions on that. But one thing that I I think is interesting comparing, and it's interesting for me it's interesting to watch debates about who quote ruined the sequels, JJ or Ryan, who who was worse. I think what I see it is JJ Abrams, I think his understanding of Star Wars, I think it's based on just like kind of, it seems to me just based on kind of a cursory viewing of the original trilogy and emphasis on cursory, and
Yeah.
that's it. Whereas what's frustrating to me is that I actually, and that, for several reasons, I think Ryan understood Star Wars and more of the lore better,
Yes.
but and that's why it's all the more frustrating seeing how the Last Jedi turned out, because you can see that he understands some of the tropes he understands a bit more of the lore and more of some of the
And the
prequel matter.
puppetry of Star Wars. I mean, they used real puppets and everything like George Lucas did with the vehicles and all that too. It's like they knew what to do. It failed.
But more specifically with Ryan, I think he understood some of the story and the themes better than J.J. Abrams.
That too.
And I think, like, for instance, what you were mentioning, Shade, about the parallels between Anakin's basically actions being motivated by these visions, and you see that with Luke. I mean, it's kind of a this will sound like weird and awful, but it's kind of an iteration of. Are you familiar with the Oedipus myth? This has nothing to do with the Oedipus complex, but the story, kind of the ancient Greek story of Oedipus is you see this in Sophocles' play.
Okay.
The gist of the stories, it's people say it's a story about a man marrying his mother. What it's about is it's a story about a man who's been told a prophecy that he will kill his father and marry his mother. And in the course of him doing everything he can to avoid that vision from becoming reality, he makes it become reality. And it's just like what you see in The Last Jedi in Luke trying to prevent the evil that he saw would attach to his nephew in order to kind of prevent that. He ends up almost attempting to kill his nephew, and that ends up triggering kind of being the straw that broke the camel's back.
The chain of events that happen next.
Yeah, right. So I think Ryan has a better understanding of some of those tropes that you see in the original movies, and he clearly, and I also think that there are things that Luke says about the Jedi Order, about the Republic Jedi Order, about the problems with it, that it's like, that's true. Those are true things he said. It's now, I don't think I agree with how Luke has acted out on those, in response to those truths, but that's true, and I didn't see that in J.J. Abrams' Star Wars, but I saw that with Rian Johnson. It's like, yeah, it's like, I could, if he's watched the prequels, and he hasn't just limited to kind of this little, like JJ's kind of idea of Star Wars. It's like, oh, there's a desert planet there, and there's a, here's a, here's someone will dress her up like Luke Skywalker.
It's a very simplistic understanding. It seems like he has almost.
It is. It's just these visual motifs, whereas Ryan's has a little bit more. He knows better. He knows a little bit more what these stories are about, the themes. But that makes it, I think that's why it makes it all the more frustrating for the audience, where you see he at the same time he doesn't get it quite right.
I would actually say that he, I guess you could say, did his homework but didn't learn the lesson.
Yes,
that's a good way of putting it.
And
that is good.
Because the thing is that yes, you've got the whole Oedipus story and all that type of situation that works for the prequels, doesn't work for Luke's story. Well, shouldn't have worked for Luke's story.
Well, it didn't. As far as Luke goes, I think that we need to go ahead and start the next topic because I think we already sort of we spent an hour on the first topic and I think we got our point across on what we think about the current state of Star Wars. So I want to go on with the next topic, and this next topic will also segue into the last topic. So this one probably won't take as long, but it's force projection.
Let's do it.
Yes.
Force projection. My thoughts on it. I'm not a fan. Now, I mean, I guess it's in a way a cool concept, but honestly, I don't feel like it should be a thing. And not only that, but when it comes to the way Disney has handled like force powers, they're inconsistent in my opinion. So the most powerful Jedi, Luke, can use this supposed force ability that takes out all his strength, I guess. I don't know. And basically die afterward. But Rey can use a never before seen force ability that transfers, I guess, force between two living things. I forgot how she explained it in the movie. But he's not winded at all. So I just want to know why they're so inconsistent.
Yeah, I think I can say why for both comparisons. When it's Luke, he took literally his full energy, his full life to become into that one thing, just to project himself to Kylo, Leia, everyone. He used all of his. And for Rey, she just tapped into the Force, found where Kylo was, threw it, and then handed him the lightsaber, or Kylo pulled her beads. Right, it's used less Force power than Luke did. He used like everything in him.
You're talking about the mind thing where their minds are bridged. I'm talking about how Luke like put himself on a different planet, but as a projection.
I'm sorry. I would say that projecting your mind to another place would have probably taken a lot less energy than throwing matter across space and time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The best way of sort of putting their viewpoint on force abilities is just sort of like plot abilities. We need the plot to move along, so new ability.
Now I will say some of their sorry, go ahead and I'll finish what I said.
I think that force projection is honestly one of the coolest things, and I don't think it was just plopped there randomly. To me, what it was trying to show how powerful Luke has become and has became from when he was the farm boy. Because to me, it showed that Luke progressed. It showed that he wanted to make up with Kylo, but knew he couldn't do it in person because he would die. And remember, it didn't just take his mind. He took his body there, too. He could use the lightsaber. He could do everything he wanted.
Well, the problem with that is, though, like, his body actually wasn't there. I mean, Kylo stabbed that projection and nothing happened.
Yeah, but he transported all of himself there.
He basically made a force hologram of himself.
Yes,
that's essentially what he did.
And that shouldn't take as much out of him as it did. You wanted to say something, Commander Tano?
Yeah.
I think the discrepancies between what you see in The Last Jedi as far as force abilities and what you see in Rise of Skywalker, where you are saturated in force healings and these these kind of this force Skyping and Kylo taking.
Oh, I love force Skype.
And Kylo taking the beads that she was wearing on her neck. I think the discrepancies you see between those two movies and force abilities, I think it boils down to what I was saying earlier about Rian's approach versus JJ's approach. I think once again in this case, I think I'm agnostic to how I feel about force healings, force projections, all these new things that were introduced in the sequels. But I will say at least Rian, he only did the force projection once, and it was like a big fantastical thing, and that was it, and that killed Luke. It wasn't something that you can just do consequence free. Whereas JJ seems to have doesn't seem to get that, and there's just you were saturated in all of these fantastical force abilities, and there except for Kylo dying, there are like no consequences to it.
Yeah, I think the consequence-free thing is the biggest issue with it. I think of it in like, yeah, I totally agree. Like, I don't understand how like Rey can force heal without any issue, but and I just don't think it's realistic that like
I'm sorry. It did not just appear in Rise of Skywalker. It actually appeared before. And this is what I'm talking about. Jedi Fallen Order. The Force heal, the Force push, the Force projection between the mind and worlds. Literally, if you've played Jedi Fallen Order, you know what I'm talking about. Cal can force project himself into his mind, I guess, for a vision or something, and sees Jaro Tapal or Sierra or Grease or Prath.
Well, that's not force projecting. That's like what is that force ability that he has?
Force vision.
No, it's not. It's a rare force ability that only a few Jedi, like I think Quinlan Voss has, where they touch an object and they can see its past. That's that's different than force projection. Well, that's a cool ability though.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I mean, Cal has like, if you think about it, go back and play. I'm not probably explaining this very well, but if you go back and play Fallen Order, Fallen Order came out before Rise of Skywalker, by the way, in November of 2019, and then Rise of Skywalker came out in December of 2019. Fallen Order, what it set up was all the Force abilities. Force push, pull, the mind vision thing. I don't exactly know what it's called. Force heal, and there was some form of force projection. He could do objects.
No force healing. The droid would like give him something that he would inject.
He used it on the bird, and Kashyyyk. He healed the bird.
Wait, did he?
Kashyyyk.
Yeah, he did heal the bird.
He force healed.
Oh. See, I played it a while back, but I did not remember that. I do now, but I didn't remember that. Huh.
He force healed. And then he could sense an echo through the Force with the vision. Remember the little purple orbs you could find? He could sense that through the Force and hear people's minds and voices through his head. I mean, every force power you can think of was in Fallen Order. But they use like everything. They pulled out all the big stops. Even so, but for all the stuff we've seen before, it has been in Star Wars. Some are new, some are not. That's what I'm saying. But we've seen it before. Force projection has been mentioned a few times. They have, but it's never really been shown as good as like in the movies. Where you can pass. I think they call it something different for what Rey and Kylo did. I don't know if it's exactly force projection, like how Luke did. I think it's more like matter projection, like force matter projection, like move an object between worlds or something. I don't think
that's that mind bridge thing that they did.
Yeah, it's kind of like how Cal did the mind glitch thing or something. I don't know, but it's like where they can do stuff.
I don't think Cal uses any of those abilities.
I know he did force heal though, definitely.
Well, as far as force projection goes, whether or not you think it's a cool ability, it's sort of stupid to think that he would have just used force projection instead of getting his X-wing like he did in Rise of Skywalker for Rey. I mean, there's a lot of arguments that you could have made that like his X-wing has been underwater too long, is probably ruined. Well, the last movie ruined that theory. Maybe he wouldn't have got there in time, or who knows what other things that you can defend that with.
The thing about it is,
if he's going to just force project an image of himself an altered image, albeit to Now I sort of like the idea of altering his image to be something that bugs Kylo. That was sort of a cool thing. I will admit.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, though, he could have went there himself, and I know the
I
whole
don't think he
point that
could.
Ryan was trying to make, and it, in my opinion, didn't work because peace and purpose. That's how Ryan puts it.
Yeah.
But he wanted Luke to go out with peace and purpose, but
And
just
fail.
because Luke force project. I mean, just because he goes up there in person doesn't mean that he couldn't have went out in peace and purpose. I mean, they could have took the movie in a totally different way at the end if they did that. But the whole point they were trying to make, in my opinion, well, no, there wasn't. No, I'm taking myself in the wrong direction. What I'm trying to say is that it was a stupid idea to do it that way if they're just going to retcon it in the next movie, because I mean,
Yeah, they retconned everything from Last Jedi.
Luke pulled that X-wing.
JJ hated
out.
Last Jedi, so I'll say that much. I'll say that.
Luke pulled the X-wing out of the water, and she was able to fly it like there was nothing wrong with it. I mean, honestly, if it's been there for as long as they've implied, then it probably shouldn't have worked in the first place. And that's probably the only reason why I would have accepted, if I accepted it at all, the fact that he was able to force project. But my problem with force projection is that it took so much out of him just to project an image of himself.
Well, from what I understood about force, just real quick before, because I do got to go for 1 minute and then I'll be right back. But what I wanted to say about force projection, real quick, then I'll mute myself and then I'll come back to talk. What about it is that we know that Luke was not fully trained in that because of the text. They burnt down, Yoda burned them down and stuff. Luke was not well trained. He did not know how to control it. So that's why. I think it even kind of explained it a little bit maybe, but he was not well trained enough to deal with the power of it. So he didn't know how to. So that's why he died, because he didn't know how to control the high amount of force power needed to be used to, project himself. So he died because he didn't know how to find the balance.
Well, my problem, and you're partially right, in my opinion. He wasn't probably fully trained, or he shouldn't have been. Let me put it that way. He had himself closed off from the Force for a very long time. So when would he have learned that ability? And there was also a point that we made earlier in the stream about Luke going when you said something about bringing him down a peg. I mean, I said that first, but you mentioned it a second time, sir. You said something about him like going off to sort of isolate himself and train. I think that's how you put. Is that how you put it?
No. I mean, what I was sort of saying is that if you were wanting to take the character down a peg, you would, have him fail due to not having a certain ability, and that would be taking him down a peg where he goes off and trains.
Well, that right there, that's what I'm talking about. That's that point. I think he was originally going to isolate himself to train, and not even just himself. I mean, he did train other Jedi. Or
I think that's what JJ was originally going to have him do.
I mean,
which would have made a lot more sense.
And the reason why I think so too is because if you've played the Battlefront 2 campaign, that mission with Luke, where Luke is going around trying to find artifacts, I mean, that sort of implies that he's on a mission to find something. But we never get anything about it afterward.
Yeah. I played that too, so I know what you're talking about.
But that's the point I was trying to make about him, trying to isolate himself to train or to find something. I think that's the original direction they wanted to go with Luke, is that he was on that island for a reason, not to hide, even though he left a map. Yeah, he went to the island to die, but he left a map so he couldn't be found. That's how that logic works.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah. Well, he trained his students for a few years, and then with Kylo happened, and then so it wasn't really a full 30 years he was hiding. Remember, it's 30 years after Return of the Jedi, so The Force Awakens is anyway.
I thought it was 20.
And
no,
so
it's like
everything,
30, I think.
I think it's about 30. I think it's 30.
Yeah, I think they said that the Battle of Jakku from the first Star Wars Battlefront game took place 29 years after the fall of the Empire, and then I guess the Force Awakens takes a year after that. I guess we're trying to add lore into the first Star Wars Battlefront. I think it's the 2015. I think it came out. Yeah,
2015. Yeah, that one. Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, I'll have to look that up to make sure, but I'm pretty sure it's 30 years.
So he
would have 30 years. I just fact checked you, bro.
So
okay,
Kylo would have been born, and he'd been trained students, and then Kylo killed his student. So if you really think about it, it'd probably be more like maybe 10 years alone, maybe at least, because remember Kylo was he had to have been at least 16 to 20, but it looked that way, and so that would have been about 20 years he was with training, because remember Kylo looked like a teenager. He didn't look like a little kid, so it would have had to been at least 20 years. So he was probably on the island 10 years.
Well, the point I was
maybe.
trying to make with him going off and training, that would have been the perfect time to acquire that ability to force project. But after The Last Jedi dropped, they had him on that island after the fall of that of his temple, to hide and die. When would he have learned that ability? I mean, unless he learned it while teaching his students, but honestly, they didn't go into that in the movie, and just look, he cuts himself off from the Force, so why in the world would he be able to, do that? In my opinion, I feel like he and also he didn't burn. Yoda didn't burn the Jedi text. Rey took them. You'll see it at the end of the movie when she's putting either taking something out or putting something in like this.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, she took the ancient Jedi text right before she left the island. With Luke.
Yes, I remember that in the final one.
So,
but I mean, Yoda did burn down the building, is what I meant.
Well, yeah.
Burning down the house.
Huh?
No, don't hate Joe.
Oh, okay. So I just think that unless those Jedi texts that he had on that island said something about force projection, I mean, I don't know why he would have tried to learn it anyways if he was trying to cut himself off from the Force. But let's just say they had that in there and he trained himself in that before he decided to cut himself off from the Force. I mean, why would he learn it if he was just going to decide to stay there and die?
It seems like
he was bored.
He was bored.
It seems like
the only thing to read on thing to damn read on this island is these damn books. I might as well read them.
Or maybe he had the Sabacc game and wanted to play Sabacc against somebody and he didn't have anybody else to play it against. So he made a projection of himself.
I think that Luke never wanted to learn it because I think he knew what would happen.
Well,
we know he knew about it. He knew about the power, but he did not want to use it. I think he said that at one point. That there was a power beyond what you can do with the Force that he never would touch. He did that because he knew it's too powerful. You could die from it.
Oh, yeah,
I think he mentioned something like that. I thought.
By the way, Chrono cleared up what that Force ability's name is. It's psychometry.
Same as Master. Yes, thank you. Yeah.
Master Boss.
Yep.
I was right. Yes.
Yep.
Okay, thank you, Chrono. You're awesome. Okay, so does anybody else have any like I can't say words anymore. Does anybody else have any opinions on force projection? I'm about to move on to the next thing if we're done with this.
Just I think everyone's said pretty much everything I was going to say, but I'll just damn it! I've now caught it off you, Shade.
I'm sorry. I'm contagious.
No worries. Don't say that, or the FBI will come down and force vaccine into your arm.
Hope not.
No. So, with all the abilities that are out there, it just does not make any logical sense of how they did force projection. Shouldn't be it. There are far more powerful things out there that didn't require you to die, and what Luke did, it really shouldn't have been that powerful. I mean, as Chrono puts in, there's Jedi battle meditation where you can screw with an entire army's mind and it doesn't kill you. You're not physically interacting with things. You are not.
Thank you.
You are not.
Yeah.
You're
not.
What
I was trying to say. That's what.
You're not doing anything that should have required you to die. It was far too simple for far too simple for the cost, especially when Jedi can know when millions of people die light years away from the location they are. I mean, when Order 66 happened, one of the main reasons why Yoda survived was because he just started getting the info that, or the little game chat notifications going that these Jedi have just died.
The game chat notifications. He had the little speaker thing from Palpatine, the little hologram chip or what.
Not quite, but I mean the thing is that distance for a lot of this Force stuff doesn't seem to matter that much. But yet projecting yourself costs you your life.
I feel like that force healing would have. I mean, of course, it did kill Kylo, but force healing should have been more deadly to a person. I mean, Rey uses it with no issue. She doesn't suffer any any repercussions.
Actually,
some of her life essence, I guess.
I can actually say something about force healing real quick. It actually does take some. Remember, after she does it, she starts breathing really hard.
I don't remember that.
Okay, well, after it, they kind of get this uneasiness in their chest. Cal has it kind of too after he does it.
Well,
he does it. He shake, and then he shakes away, and then he's like it took a lot out of him to heal that cut on the bird, or Rey to heal the cut on the worm. They kind of lose their breath a little bit. It does take a lot of power out of them.
Well, the thing is, though, let me compare Luke's reaction to Rey's reaction then. Luke was sweating shaking, and he looked like he was straining the entire time. And then here's Ray, who just lays her hand on it, I guess, closes her eyes, and be like, force healing. Okay.
There it is
I'm
in
a
the
little
game
bit
menu.
tired, but I'm okay. Not like Baby Yoda or Luke, who fall over after using the like Baby Yoda, Grogu uses force healing and falls over, falls asleep, and Luke falls over and dies. But Rey does the same thing as Grogu, and she's like just slightly winded, if she's winded at all. So
force projection is what Luke did. The force battle meditation. Baby Yoda did force healing.
Mm-hmm.
But Baby Yoda also remember, Baby Yoda used the force to pick up that giant mud horn and do stuff like that too. And he did heal scars, but it was more like pulling people towards him that winded him. The force heal is not supposed to like knock you out. It only is supposed to like wind you out. If you understand it's only supposed to give you a little bit of a strain. It's not supposed to like knock you out.
Well,
but
I also have
it does for inexperienced force users or people that don't know the ability well.
Sokko's power went out, so he might be back on later. I'm just letting y'all know that right now because he just let me know. He might be back on if his power comes back on. I hope it does. But that's why he's gone. Yeah. But as far as force projection is concerned, I think for the most part, we universally agree that it wasn't handled correctly. Let me put it that way.
Yes.
And that there is some inconsistency with the way the Force is being used in the Disney era of Star Wars. So, with that said, when it comes to the Force and the way things are viewed, Disney has their way of viewing it, and Psycho is back, and George, the original creator, had his way of viewing it. And if you watched the little interview that George did a while back, and I'm segueing into the next topic by saying this. So, they both have a different philosophy of how Star Wars should be. So, saying that, we are on to Ryan versus George, because this is one I'm actually very excited to talk about, and I have some reference material here that I'm looking at. So I'm going to go ahead and mention some of this stuff real quick before I let y'all give me your opinions on it or what you think. But this topic is mainly about their philosophies on Star Wars, and it's not even just Ryan, but there is this specific thing about Ryan that I wanted to talk about, which is why I've made this mostly about Ryan. But he also reflects basically what Disney is what Disney thinks about the Force. So, when it comes to the Force, not even the Force, but Star Wars in general, Disney has their way of viewing things, especially like the Force and how it works, as opposed to how George was originally intending things to go. And as George said in his interview, it's no longer, his Star Wars, basically. It's went away from what he envisioned it to be. And that's not his exact words, so but that's
basically what the name, yeah.
So I've got a couple quotes here that I'm going to read out.
Ahead.
So basically, this is like comparing the thoughts, and I'm going to mention one other thing after this, because this is how I'm building up this topic. And how I want you guys to answer it. So give me just a second to read these off, and I will build everything from here. All right. So Ron Johnson says, my reason for making Star Wars was to... Oh, wait, no, this is George Lucas. I misread it. Okay. For George Lucas, my reason for making Star Wars was to give young people an honest, wholesome fantasy. It's a fairy tale. You want everybody to live happily ever after. The whole emotion I am trying to get at the end of the film is for you to feel uplifted emotionally and spiritually, to feel good about life or feel absolutely good about life. Okay, that's George Lucas. All right. Now, for Rian Johnson, I'd be worried if everybody was like, that was a good movie. It's much more exciting when a group of people are really excited about it, and there are other people literally saying, that was the worst movie I've ever seen. Having those two extremes is the mark of a movie that I want to make. Now, see, the thing is, they both have different ways, like different philosophies of how it should go. And somebody made a point a while back. I can't remember who or where I got it from, but somebody made a point about where Rian Johnson is an artist and he has his own perspective on Star Wars, and that since he's an artist, he should be able to put his perspective on it.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I think that's wrong, because now if it was an original thing, then yeah, I mean, he can do that. And see, that's the thing about George Lucas. Star Wars was his, and he was doing, like, even though people didn't like not the sequels, but prequels that much, or at least for the majority at the time. I lost where I was going. Oh, okay, I got it. Okay, so even though people didn't like the prequels that much at the time, that was and George was doing what he wanted to do, and he wasn't doing it to displease the fans on purpose like Ryan was doing. He had his own vision of where he wanted Star Wars to go, and he was following it. And he didn't try to displease the fans, but he also wanted to do the thing that he wanted. And, especially after all these years, I think people have come to like appreciate the prequels more and more. I mean, I grew up with them. I loved the prequels, especially Episode 3.
Yeah.
And it's a thing that I guess seeing now what we got, it makes people realize it wasn't so bad before. But what I'm trying to go into now is Rian Johnson's perspective, and I mean, he wanted to, I guess,
divide the fan base.
Well,
yeah, essentially.
Yeah, that's
a
simple way of putting it. But a lot of people were defending it because they think that he had a right, since it's no longer George's property anymore, that he had a right to go in with his own vision and change it up however he wanted to. And from an artistic standpoint, I guess that's logical to think, because it's your art now.
It's legal.
No,
it doesn't mean that you should. It's another one of those things. Like, if you have any integrity, then you probably won't. But yeah, you can.
Well,
no, it's not.
Go ahead. Sorry.
It's not even sort of an integrity sort of situation. If you know anything about storytelling and writing, no, you don't come in halfway through anything and go, oh, I want to completely change the philosophy of how this gets done. Because
exactly.
if that ever happened, or if people actually did that, no program on the face of the planet will work, because all programmers are essentially artists, which most people don't actually realize. And you need to stick to the design document, or the program just won't work.
Yeah.
So it's same. It is the same when you're talking about movie franchises or book franchises or just any collaborative work.
Now, I agree, but the thing I wanted to say, I mean, I completely agree. I didn't mean to sound like I doubted you. No, what I wanted to say is, like, he has the right to do so, but the problem is where it's already got an established lore to it, an established fan base, all that stuff. Because some people say that he doesn't have to please the people that were originally there supporting it, and that's a dumb business move on the on one hand. But
that's dumb. But
he doesn't technically have to, but it's a good idea.
Yeah, well, to me,
already established, like it. You need to stick with it. It's not his original vision. It was George's original vision. So they could stick with it. And that's why it's failing. because some people want to put their own perspective on something that's already established, and you don't do that.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry, real quick. I think about it this way. To me, George and Rian, from where George made Star Wars at the beginning, not now, to how Rian made his first Star Wars, they sound very similar. Because what George said, if you take it the same way, and he has said this in interviews, he said, I wasn't trying to appease everybody. I was trying to make my own little film, my own little space opera, my own thing about family, love, beginning, connection, and a great ending. Rian said, I wasn't trying to appease everybody. If they like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. They had their own perspective of what Star Wars meant to them. Like George has his thing. Like George, this was his creation. That was his baby. Star Wars is the thing that he loved to do. Rian loved it too. He came in as a fan. He loved it. I think what they are both said is that they wanted it. I think Rian did want to respect George's vision. I just think he did it in a completely wrong way. I think he put too many things in there that did disrespect him, but I did not think he thought it would. Maybe I don't know if he did or not. That's up to Rian himself. We don't know.
My opinion on that is I feel like he did on purpose, and the only reason why I think that is because of that quote that he said. And it's unfortunate that he thinks that way. Wouldn't you want everybody to like your movie?
Yeah, it's odd to say that you would rather for something to be controversial than universally loved. And I understand the notion of, well, I'm just going to make what I want. I'm going to have my own vision and not really take into consideration what the fans want, and that's all fine and dandy. But
we had the Rock in the chat.
I wasn't talking about that with Rian. I was saying I meant through what they both said from their minds. I wasn't thinking like despite the fan base or anything. But what I was saying is that from them they seemed both like they just wanted to make a movie they thought was good, and then they did, and then they said, there's people that are going to love it, there's people that aren't going to love it. But George went at it to where he didn't attack people. Rian attacked people. I'm saying their defense on that point is very different. But I think the part of them just want to make a good movie, and if people like it or if they don't, that was the thing I was saying. And the attacking people and not attacking people, that's the part where we can say, that was stupid with what Rian did. I'm just saying, I think they knew I think they thought they had a good movie for that, and they both wanted to do their part of that. But I think Rian sometimes took things the wrong way, and that's why we got Last Jedi how it was, because some things were not fully explained or not really in the same way of the Star Wars universe. And we know that force projection was not the same as we knew it from the books, or if it was they changed it very differently from what we understood of its ability. And we could go about that all day. I'm just saying I think they both wanted to make a good movie at first, and then they would suffer the backlash later if they were bad. That's what I kind of thought about, because George Lucas said that. He said, this was a movie for me. I didn't even care about the donors. Like he said, Hollywood, he said, I went in there, made in Star Wars. And you know what? For Empire, it was my movie, 100%. And he said, you know what? The people got their money. The studio got a little bit of a cut, but I did everything 100%, the movie and everything else. So that's what George did. And then, Rian had Disney money. So you could see where the difference lies in some of the things I said. But, there's I'm just saying, I think they wanted to make a good movie first.
Mm-hmm.
I actually want to jump in the bit you mentioned about Disney, because I'm going to muddy the waters even further here. So, I've said before now a couple times. I think Ryan knew more of what he was doing than JJ did, and I think, to borrow Chrono's analogy, he did do his homework. And now whether he learned the lesson, that's a whole different question. But
yeah.
I do think, as far as aiming to spite the fans, I think one thing that makes things that confuses things is, I think sometimes we conflate the actions of, say, the directors with those of Kennedy, Disney, and the people who are marketing.
Yes.
And so I think there's a lot more spite on the part of Disney. I think in terms of Ryan, I think
he just did his job.
Yeah, I think with Ryan, I think,
Kathleen was there doing stuff too with the script. We know of. I think Kathleen was Holdo all the way. Honestly,
I honestly, yeah, it's. I'd actually now I now kind of, after this discussion, I want to go back and make a timeline of the PR for this movie and who said what when. But it's significant because I think a lot of this the friction that surrounded that movie, I think a lot of that is due to Disney and people marketing, and it made some people in the fan base mad, understandably, and I think Ryan Johnson has probably made some mistakes, and he should have just stayed out of it. I think the general sentiment of not feeling the need to make a movie that pleases anyone, that's not everyone's taste, but it's that's a legit, that's a legit sentiment you can have as an artist. But granted, that's when you're playing with your own sandbox. The problem is he was brought in to play in a sandbox that's been around for decades. That has its own...
that's what I was trying to say is you have to follow your Star Wars rules. What I was saying about George is that, he had his sandbox. Star Wars was his thing. Ryan came in to do it. So to me, it wasn't fully. And me and you talked about this, Tano. I don't hate. Listen, The Last Jedi is not the best Star Wars movie. No, but I do not hate it. It did not turn me away from Star Wars. You have said that too. You said that more of it was The Force Awakens. More. You said you did not like The Force Awakens.
No, I like The Force Awakens. So I had more problems with The Rise of Skywalker than I have with The Last Jedi. But So no, what turned me away, by the time The Force Awakens, it was I'm I don't care. All the characters I'm interested in are dead. What's the whole point of this? The Mandalorian kept me in, but I think what turned me off, honestly, is and why I'm not as... It's I'm hopeful things can be fixed. I think there's still time for things to be fixed, but I'm very concerned about the future and the stability of kind of the direction Star Wars is going. It was after the Gina Carano situation where what other abrupt changes are they going to make? Are they going to cancel maybe some of these series that they said they were going to offer? Are they going to rewrite them in ways that, are they going to undo a lot of the good first steps they've taken? I thought, back in December, towards repairing the franchise and maybe working towards a multi-canon solution for people and finding kind of a way forward out of the mess that we've been in the past few years. But yeah, so The Last Jedi wasn't, and that's why I think it's interesting when we talk about the state of Star Wars. I'm this weird faction, little micro fact, I don't know how big of a faction it is, of people who
now the trolling.
Yeah, I didn't boycott Solo over The Last Jedi. I saw it. I thought it was good. It wasn't my favorite. Was it my favorite Star Wars movie ever? No, but it didn't turn me off.
The thing with Luke at the end, that's why I like Last Jedi a little bit more than TFA. because it felt like Luke earned that moment to try and fight Kylo. Like have his epic final send off to say goodbye, kid. Like that was so much better than Han getting stabbed through the stomach or Leia dying under some sheets. I'm sorry, it felt like a better send off than the other two got. I guess that's why at the end it felt like they kind of redeemed him a little bit to where he fought Kylo. I know force projection, but still, it it felt earned. Like it felt
There
like
was so much.
No,
Yeah.
no, no. I'd have to disagree with that. I do not think that was earned. If if we never saw Luke Skywalker ever again, the Mandalorian was a better send off.
Yes.
Than the Last Jedi. The Last Jedi.
No, I didn't mean like that. I meant like what I meant is that it felt better than what happened to Han or Leia. Like Han literally just got stabbed.
I guess I can sort of agree with that. Sort of.
Yeah, like
and then
Luke
Leia died under sheets.
I didn't like Luke. Yeah, I didn't like Luke dying. Period. Like I didn't like any of them dying.
Yeah,
especially not Luke, because that shut a story, kind of a story door that you then
can never be opened.
Yes, it's like
Yeah.
that was my problem with it. With what Rian did was like he shut some doors that I would have liked him to keep open. I was intrigued with the kind of further developing the relationship between Luke and Rey, and I mean as living people, not as no Force Ghost stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, we
or shipping. Or shipping.
Yeah, so it's well, where was I going with that? But yeah, if you're just comparing the sequel movies, I wouldn't have ended any of those characters the way they did. But I think it's the point you're making is Luke went out with a bang, Leia went out with a whimper. Comparatively, it was kind of like I remember just kind of going out of The Rise of Skywalker is just like it's like I thought I was kind of depressed with The Last Jedi, but this has got me like even.
I was
Yeah,
too.
but
I was like, why did Kylo have to die? But really, I wanted him to live. I thought that was the whole.
I'm tired of redemption deaths. Controversial statement of the evening.
Yes.
That should not be a controversial statement. I'm so frustrated because at this point it's such a cliche in Star Wars for the whole redemption death concept.
I hated that happening. I was like they had something good here. It doesn't matter about like the Raylo type crap or whatever, but like they really had that moment. They were going to have that big moment. Why not have like Finn die or I don't know. I didn't want Kylo to die though. That was the whole thing. I thought they were going to set it up for more with Rey and Kylo and Finn and Poe, but no, Kylo dies.
Hang on.
The idea of Finn like dying as a sacrifice in The Last Jedi.
He could have died in TFA, honestly, with how Kylo cut him in the back like that. I thought he did die.
But hang on, don't you mean Ben dying?
Ben, Kylo.
Kylo died earlier on in the movie.
Exactly.
No, Kylo died at the end.
Ben.
Oh my god.
Ben Solo died.
Ben came back to life and died.
He did.
Exactly.
He got his final kiss and then he died. He got his final. That was like
first and last kiss.
That was like the worst thing ever. Like literally, he got his thing with Rey and then he died. Like all the Solos are dead now. If you really think about it.
And I've gotten into not full arguments, but I've gotten heated discussions about this, and I've been asked like, well, look, if you kept Ben Solo alive, it's like, look, he's done all these bad things. Like, what on earth are you gonna? You can't let him live or whatever. I'm like, that's the point. It's like that would make an interesting story if you have him. Keep him alive, because we always use these deaths as redemption deaths as these convenient ways to write off people we don't want to deal with afterwards. And I get like there are places for it. You can do it every now and then. Like I get you do it with Vader or whatever, but it's like why not? I would much more explore the possibility of what do what does he do with himself if he's still alive in that world?
Well,
it's not
yeah.
even just
To me, it
whether
felt
he
like
did. Go ahead,
Leia
Cody.
was supposed to be the sacrifice step for the movie. That's what it felt like. And then they killed Ben too. I was like, wait, what? I was like,
See,
wait.
the thing is for me about the redemption death thing, like I agree with you completely. The thing is what it's not exactly what he would have done with himself, but more like what the world would have done to him.
Yes.
Like that's one thing that I just wondered. Or more accurately, the galaxy. What would they have done to Ben Solo after doing all those things that he did, like abducting children for the First Order? And I mean, he might not have personally did it himself, but he had
Yeah.
a part in it. But like all those crimes that he committed against the New Republic, what I like it'd be interesting to see that if he would have accepted the punishment for that. Actually, that would probably been a better redemption. Actually answering for the crimes that he committed and trying to make everything right.
That's what I thought was
Maybe
going to
even
happen
pulling
or
a
something.
Sasuke from Naruto, like at the end of the series where he goes off to make things right, or maybe even pulling a Bucky Barnes from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, where they they acquit him because he wasn't all there in his head due to his brainwashing, but they let him go around trying to make things right. I would have liked to have seen something like that where he took the punishment like a man.
I
and,
liked it
tried to make
more
things
as
right instead
like a
of
villain turned into the good.
killing them off.
Yeah, it felt more like a Baron Zemo, like in Falcon and Winter Soldier. Like it felt more like the villain trying to be working with the good guys. That's what it felt like near the end of Kylo and Rey.
I agree with Chrono's point that having him live and try to atone for his sins would have made more sense and been interesting, and honestly just been a fresher approach to the story.
Yeah, and then have Leia be the death,
But that would require competent story writers.
We forgot about that.
Well, we only have the Lucasfilm story group.
That's the one thing that we needed that we don't have. Dang it. Well,
Pablo Hidalgo, man, it's all his fault. He's like the main story guy at Lucasfilm.
Whenever I think of that redemption arc that I've got in my head, I think of Sasuke from Naruto. If anybody here is watching Naruto, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So, I just think I like how they handled Sasuke in Naruto at the end. I don't know how other people feel about that, but I compare that to Kylo Ren because atoning for your sins, as Chrono puts it, that right there would have been a heroic thing to do, in my opinion. And instead of dying, like writing him out by killing him, I feel like if he wanted to be or change, it shouldn't just take one action to redeem him after all those things that he had done. It should, they should show him atoning for that sin, but also redeeming himself and maybe even doing some really good things that, people will be like, he's not that bad after all. He was just misled. So, I mean, that would have been pretty cool to expand on.
Brainwashed like all the child soldier stormtroopers.
Yeah, that
I hated the thing with the stormtroopers. I was like, how cool is it that there was these brainwashed stormtroopers that were whether we brought in as kids or as like slaves to the First Order, and then we don't even know anything about it barely. Like we know Finn and what Janna, the girl, and that's it. Remember, Janna's Lando's daughter, apparently. The black girl stormtrooper.
Oh God.
Who knows? They never.
That's what they said in a book somewhere. But it's like Lando's daughter, I believe.
Did they put it in the book?
I think
who knows? Nobody reads the book.
I think.
Why'd they fit it in the movie? I don't get it.
Pablo!
I'm
sorry.
That's a great thing to add into the movie.
Gosh darn it.
That would have been really interesting. The thing, though, that I don't like about The Rise of Skywalker is that there's this entire starship worth of Imperial stormtroopers that defected because of Finn. If they and this also brings like an issue to Finn. Why, if they were programmed from birth, why? And I mentioned this, I think, in the previous stream about why Finn would have, why his story doesn't work because he drops out of it in the first battle and be like, oh no, I've been brainwashed all my life to do this, but the moment I have to do it, I'm actually scared.
Yeah.
Like they shouldn't be as human as they are. If they're supposed to be as brainwashed as the First Order wants us to believe, they shouldn't act as human as they do, because they all act like they're super chill. I mean, you've seen like some of the reactions that the stormtroopers have to this or that. They're like too chill. It's so weird. And they act way too human. I like the Imperial stormtroopers from the original trilogy. They were more
harsh
robots. Yeah.
Yeah. They're more abrasive, more
yeah. The stormtroopers felt more like a Bucky Barnes to me because they were manipulated to work for the Empire. Well, and they didn't know it. And the First Order ones, I mean.
The thing is, though, they didn't execute it right. With Bucky Barnes, they executed it really well, in my opinion. I love what they did with Bucky.
Yeah.
But the thing is, though, like it's like they intentionally made the First Order look super incompetent, where they can't keep a single soldier in line, even though they've programmed them from their literal birthday.
It really kind of makes the First Order look weak when you think about it.
Yeah,
I agree,
that's what I'm trying to say. Like that, I think we've strayed off from the Rian Johnson thing, but it's partially because of him and people like him that we have this.
Definitely.
I can
yeah.
I actually agree with Chrono's point about the First Order being really underdeveloped to the point that it makes it hard to take them seriously, and that's a real shame because I remember when I first saw the First Order Stormtrooper like concept art, I was like, that looks really awesome, and I really think that it showed a lot of promise.
Yeah, I like the part they added, like the part, what I'm talking about. It was like they had the black eyes, but then the thing went down, and then the black part went down, and then up, and then like a kind of a curved. I like that better than the original Stormtrooper design.
The motorbike
out.
Yeah. I like the Stormtrooper design in the new movies. There is no question. I really do love it.
It looked more filled out. It looked like it was more complete.
I feel like it was a pretty good futuristic look to the Stormtrooper.
Yeah.
But if we want to talk about the designs in the sequel trilogy, though, I'd say that in a way, the sequel trilogy is like the technology there is a regression. I think that's the word for it, a regression.
That's true.
A
reimagining,
because it's way too similar to what we had before. There wasn't much of a progression in technology. And no, I'm not talking about the Rian Johnson bombers that he really wanted in the movie, because those should not work. No matter what they say.
No, Rian Johnson wanted that casino.
Shouldn't have worked.
Rian Johnson wanted Canto Bite. We all know he did.
Oh gosh, Canto Bite.
That's the only thing he talked about.
I can make
Canto Bite.
Stream on Canto Bite. And talking about how much I hate that and how much don't tempt me to do it. I'll do it.
And I think that one of the interesting aspects of Star Wars is to take something like a familiar element from a world like the city landscape, that we're all at least semi familiar with. And to take that and to make it something that's very futuristic and alien looking, like on Coruscant, I think that conceptually some of the best Star Wars, like most memorable Star Wars landscapes have been like that. So to take like the whole Vegas like casino aesthetic and try to apply that, I don't know. It seems like it could work, but it's just so lame.
It honestly felt more like, if they didn't have the aliens in there, it would feel more like and the silly music, it would feel more like a. I don't know how.
Kind of like a normal casino.
Yeah.
It felt like Ryan wanted to have like his Mos Eisley or JJ's Maz Kanata's bar scene. It felt like he wanted to have like his bar or his little thing.
Well,
and he made the casino. That's what it felt like.
Well, he made that whole adventure, but it was a pointless adventure. And
it was.
You're going to get me started on it. I'm not going to start on it. I'm going to move on to something else. Or actually, I'm going to go back to something else.
Yes.
Yes. Let's not talk about Canto Bight. Let's go back to George Lucas's and Ron's philosophy on how they did this. So, as far as like George Lucas, he put a lot of like mythology in Star Wars as well, or he did a lot of research, used things from mythology, all that kind of stuff.
He put a lot of spirituality in it too. Like we've all heard him say this. To what we heard George Lucas say, he said like the Force was supposed to be like God, like the being of all things, the matter of all things. Like it was supposed to be like the God or like a thing of the universe that can control everything. That's what he said. So, I mean, I love that idea to have something that's more powerful than the characters themselves that they can use to help them, and they can become either good or dark. It's good because that's how it is in real life. You can either become a good person or a bad person, and depending on your choices, you go down the good or the dark path. But there's always that gray area there.
Well, also like the feel of the George Lucas era movies as opposed to the Disney era movies.
Yeah, it's got a completely different feel to it. That's
yes,
and that's kind of what you were saying. And I feel like this kind of ties into what you were saying, Shade. It's just like you were saying, he really put a lot of work into the mythology and into the world building. And then comparatively, like when you watch the 3 films that we got, they feel very shallow. They feel very surface level. They feel kind of just
they feel like a normal movie that you'd watch at a theater.
It feels kind of like a Michael Bay movie, if I'm being completely honest. I hate to say it. It kind of hurts, but it's true. That's how I feel.
It's the most apt description. I mean, when you see, I think a lot of people, and this goes back to something that Shade said ages ago, about the prequels. The big thing about the prequels, and I don't think people understand this enough, is that the prequels, the best way I can describe them, is a 5-star chef trying to cook a new meal. He might have failed, but you could see what he was trying to put into it. You could see everything around it. You could see him testing, trying, really trying to craft something.
No, I think that's a great description. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like when you're
I don't think he failed.
Puts out an album and they're like, "Oh, this one is going to be experimental. It's going to be a little different." And you're like, "Oh, what does that mean?" That's kind of what the prequels were. It's like George sort of testing the waters a little bit.
The prequels, in my opinion. But that's my opinion. I don't think those movies are as bad as anyone says they were.
But they weren't the original trilogy. That's the thing. They weren't
supposed to be the original. They were supposed to be setting up Darth Vader.
No. But what I'm sort of saying is that, okay, let's just say the original trilogy, 10 out of 10, the perfect movies type of situation. If the prequels, I'm just using this as an example. I'm not saying that they were 10 out of 10. I'm just using this as examples. Everyone would have been okay if the prequels had have been like an 8.
Mm-hmm.
But they weren't. They were like a 6. They were still,
I don't agree with that.
They were still watchable movies.
Revenge of the Sith made it higher.
I'm just.
I get what you're saying. I don't know what how I would deal with things numerically, but they are different. And I think we've gotten so accustomed lately to kind of treating, when we talk about George Lucas's Star Wars, as a single thing. It isn't a single thing. It's this little miscellany of things that have been kind of glued together, and they've kind of, since with time, have worked. And I think part of that's been helped along by Clone Wars and other things. But there's not one Lucas Star Wars.
Yeah,
I agree.
And bringing up the Clone Wars is the perfect thing, because the thing was that in its totality, I really don't think it quite worked as well. But the world building and everything that was put into it was just so rich and so great that for Star Wars fans, it was nourishing. It was good. It might have not been a perfect meal, but it was something that we could really hold on, consume, and love. And because it was so rich and so good, that the thing spawned from it. Because I mean, look what's been spawned from it: the Clone Wars, the Bad Batch, Ahsoka, the Kenobi TV series,
Maul.
That only happened because
of the prequel.
It was that it was done
well enough.
Yeah. Well, the world building was rich enough and lived in enough that things could be created from it, which is something that the sequel trilogies just absolutely failed at. And the thing is, and one of the biggest examples, is unfortunately The Last Jedi, of just the absolute failure on every single level in storytelling, that the prequel trilogies only failed at like one of them, which was probably just dialogue. Because the
I hate
sand was just so coarse. But I mean, the thing is that everything around it was so I won't say well crafted, but I mean there was just so much added to it that it covered its weaknesses. Where the Last Jedi and the Rise of Skywalker didn't have that. It didn't have the richness around it.
I feel like
that's why
more of
it's so maligned.
Yeah, to me it feels more like an atmosphere, this thing too, because remember, George Lucas had his mind up. He knew what he was going to do, and that was his movies, right? When Ryan was there with Disney, that was Disney's movie, Disney's Star Wars. So there was corporate people behind Ryan. George didn't have that. Really.
I would say Lucasfilm, not Disney.
I know. I know. I'm saying that depending on what we're talking about, I feel like based on the atmosphere, that's how things change differently for each saga. For George's saga and then the sequel saga, because George says 3 or 1 through 6, that's my saga. Anything after that, you can do whatever you want with it. The Skywalker saga is 1 through 6.
But before I forget, I have a question about sand.
Okay.
So
Great.
No, this is actually a really important one. Why is it that, at least what I've noticed, is people who say they're fans of the prequels, or at least like them, or they seem to be able to, at the same time, laugh at them and make jokes about sand and all that. Whereas one thing
I hate noticed, sands. Come on now.
Whereas I don't see that with fans of the sequels.
Yeah.
I don't see that that's just something really interesting. And maybe that's there, but I think particularly with like hardcore, more like the corporate Disney kind of people who are
yeah,
the sequels can go no wrong. I don't see that willingness to kind of like just come on, make fun of yourself for a bit. It's like
maybe they think you're making fun of the narrative, and that's the problem that they have with it.
Yeah, well, the best thing I can say to really say how good the prequel fans are to the sequel fans, Ahmed Best, the guy that played Jar Jar, really was on the edge of, well, depression, we'll say. And because of the media attacked his performance, and the fans stuck up for him back then. And he said, I wouldn't have gotten through it without the fans. Literally, Ahmed Best said that. He said the fans were so great. They were always so nice. And I probably wouldn't have gotten through that. I wouldn't have probably had my son, or my son wouldn't have had me without the fans of Star Wars propping me up and keeping me whole. And then the sequels, they attack actors left and right, like Gina Carano, and they attack us for being racist towards Kelly Marie Tran or whatever when we were not. So that's the difference. Like, the prequel people defended the actors, the sequel people are hating the actors.
But so I thought the prequel fans were racist and sexist. So hang on, why didn't they attack Jar Jar?
Not only that, but as me and Psycho, we made a point in the last stream about Ahsoka. Why do like, I know that she wasn't liked that much before, but why is she one of the most beloved characters, especially among like prequel fans and all that stuff? Why is she?
Why is she like that for sexist?
Talented story writers.
Exactly. And the thing is, like me and Psycho were discussing in the last stream, when we didn't like Ahsoka, and we had, some legitimate thoughts about why it shouldn't have worked, but it does work. But the thing is, back then we didn't like her, but they didn't attack us saying that we're sexist. They didn't say that we didn't like her because she was a female character. They made her annoying on purpose, from what I'm getting out of this. So
because she was a young, inexperienced Padawan that didn't understand the full context of why.
They wanted to show us, how far she was gonna go as a character.
David Filoni designed Ahsoka. Designed Ahsoka to be as annoying as all hell. At which point, after everyone pretty much hated her, then started to redeem her through storytelling and her character growth. And what was meant to happen was that at the peak of that, he was going to kill her off. Just for the emotional impact.
And Dave Filoni was like, "No, my Ahsoka."
No, it was part of Dave Filoni's plan.
George Lucas wanted her to die more. I know that.
But the thing was that she became so beloved and so popular that they went, yeah, no, we can't do this. We're keeping her, and instead she got kicked out of the Jedi Order.
Yeah, Dave Filoni loved her so much. George, listen, this is in an interview. People have talked about this too. George still wanted to kill Ahsoka. He's like, I don't think it would make sense to even still have her here. Filoni was the one that said, let me try this out. And that's how they got to that point, is because Filoni was the one to suggest she stay alive. So Filoni was the one to not kill Ahsoka.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing was that designing from the beginning, that was meant to happen. It was much further on in the season that they went, maybe we shouldn't, and it was probably one of the best decisions they made.
Exactly. Now, we have hit basically 2 hours and 20 minutes, so we're going to go ahead and begin ending the stream. I feel like we've went over a lot of this stuff pretty good so far. I don't think we'll need a part 2 to any of these like we did last time. There is a special surprise.
Birthday cake. No, I'm joking.
Yes. I decided to show it. I wasn't sure if I was going to do it, but I decided to show it. I commissioned this thing from to be done, and they got it done pretty quickly. And I wanted to make it into a teaser, so I added a little bit to it. So it probably the actual thing that I'm teasing isn't my design, but my introduction to it, I guess, is. It's sort of lazy. I was trying to hurry and get it done before the stream, so I'm going to show it, and it's very short, but it gets across what I'm planning on doing with this channel in the future. So let me go ahead and play that.
Do it.
I knew it. I knew it. I knew it.
Yeah, I was very excited.
Dude,
You talked about that, bro.
I've mentioned that I
Psycho
wanted to
Mantis. Sorry.
I've been getting a lot of stuff done behind the scenes lately, and I really wanted to share that little bit right there. That is going to be like, I don't know if I'm going to make a separate channel for gaming yet. I don't think I will until this channel gets more established later on.
I am.
But
I'm making
anytime I post a gaming video or a stream, that will be the intro for it. So that was a quick little teaser of what is to come in the future of this channel. I just figured I'd share that because I was very excited about it.
Yeah, for a gaming channel or a gaming thing, what I decided to do is I'm going to keep the games I play on my main channel, like more family friendly, because the Doctor Who and Star Wars is more for all families and stuff. So I was like, I'll keep that family friendly, even move all mature stuff or all games over to like a gaming channel. If you wanted to keep it like Star Wars family friendly and all that, that's what I meant. But I've done that.
So what are you thinking, Psycho? I want to know your.
It sounds great.
I think it's a great idea. I just want to be involved, man. That's the only thing. I just want to be involved.
Look, I wanted to surprise you with that, so I wanted to do it on the stream, and now I feel really good about it.
If you'll have me, dude, I'll be happy to be right by your side.
We'll play
some Battlefront.
Till the end of the line.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do Battlefront. Yay!
Battlefront.
I haven't got all the details on what's ready yet. I haven't got all the equipment or anything. I'm just teasing what will happen. Hopefully, it will get some people excited. It got me excited when I got the intro for those gaming videos specifically. So
I've had I actually, like, people were like, do I have to pay you for anything? Like, no, not you, but I got commissions too, or things from people. Like, do I need to pay you? And they're like, no, this is free for you. Because you're helping the community out so much. I'm like, oh, thanks. And I got and the thing on my Twitter, the Star Wars thing, like my thing in the Star Wars font, my banner.
Yeah.
That was actually made by I think it was Gina Carano Stan, I think it was, our Gina Carano account. So I that was a commission, and she did it for free. So I was like, oh, thank you. It was pretty fun, and I actually have a few more things in the works. But that will be on mine. So, but man, I'm excited for your gaming channel.
Mine.
You are mine. Your soul is mine.
Yes. But yeah.
Sorry.
I'm like trying to make this channel the best I can make it. And it's not even just me though. I may be doing all this right here, but Psycho is in this with me, so he deserves as much credit. We're both working hard to make this channel what it is so far, and hopefully better than what it is now. I never thought in my life that I would be on here with my cousin and 3 other people that I've never met before, but really love interacting with. I never thought I'd be doing this, especially on the internet. So it's been a real blessing to be able to do something like this.
Absolutely. It's been really exciting so far. I can't wait to see where this takes us.
I mean, now I don't think I can imagine myself without this Thursday stream, or even now the Tuesday stream. Like, what would I do on Thursdays at 6 o'clock? I don't know what else I would do anymore. So it's just really cool to have this like secondary hobby that I can do, and with the people that I love interacting with. So, look, you guys have been helping me out with this channel since I started it. Like, especially you, Commander Tono, you supported my decision to do this from the very beginning. And then Sir AOA came in and be like, yeah, you know what?
Dude, listen, I was like,
download this program. Make sure you get this.
Psycho was your first one. Then I think Commander Tano knew about you. Then I was like, hey, I just pop in like, hey, I'm making a Star Wars fan film, and then I'm also doing YouTube. And you're like, I want to start a YouTube. I'm like, go for it. I'm like, do it. Start streaming, do it. You asked me what should I do
about it for a long time, but we never acted on it, and that was our problem. So instead of recording a video, I decided that I would do it in a live stream because I watched your live stream, Bounty Hunter Network, with Tano, and I've already explained how my thought process behind doing this, but that is what that also helped push me into doing this right here. If it weren't for this live stream thing, I wouldn't have probably done it as soon as I did. And it's just, I'm very grateful for the three of you and my cousin as well for helping me out with this.
I appreciate you, buddy.
So, I mean, all the help that you guys have given me from behind the scenes and all that stuff, it's been really great. And it's been awesome having you guys on the stream here too.
Yeah,
thank you for having us along.
Sorry.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been so much fun to be along for the ride for this, and I'm so glad you decided to do this because I just knew from like when I first met you on Twitter and just interacting with you, I'm like, this guy's really thoughtful. Like I hope I want to listen to him talk about this stuff more, and so it's so cool and surreal that it's happening.
It feels so weird because I don't know how many of you were around originally, like at the very beginning of this, right after Last Jedi with the Phantom Menace. I was there, so I'm like OG. But by the way, I started everything on my channel, everything, like really getting it geared up, ideas, independent movies, films, books, whatever. I started right after The Last Jedi with Ethan Van Sciver and World Class and everybody with the Phantom Menace, Comic Skate. I was right there at the beginning. A ton of different names. CZ Mage, Gotham Knight. There were all these different names. You might have seen me. I had a ton of different names. And then I was like, oh, I need to do Star Wars and whatever else. And I was like, Bounty Hunter Network, that sounds good. And so it worked out very well. But Shay, no, I did not know that I inspired you. You just said you wanted to do a stream. And I was like, go for it.
Well, you did partially inspire me. There was a lot of people, including yourself and Commander Tano, that inspired me. And then Sir down here being very helpful, telling me things that I need to do. I really appreciate that as well. And I also appreciate all the people that have watched this stream and any of our other streams for that matter. Everybody that's in the chat, Chrono especially. I mean, you've been
our beautiful TV.
Like the first episode as well. And I really appreciate you. You're like a lore master. You tell me things that I don't remember. So I really hope you stick around because I need you to help fact check me.
Listen now. If I'm with Jump 3PO and Gina Carano, I think you'll understand why I might be gone for a minute. But yes, I do, and I do not lie. I know Jump 3PO. He follows me on Twitter right now. I know Drunk.
Whoa, big shot.
Oh. So
I know Geeky Pix. I know you're like Drunk 3PO. Plus R2 follows me. Drunk's brother. Got Gina too. She likes my stuff but doesn't follow me, on the down low. But I'm not sliding into DMs. Okay, that's I can't say. Oh wait,
But
that's
is
a
she
spoiler.
sliding into your DMs?
Yeah.
She has posted on my tweet before, but not on my DMs.
Well, this is
her and Drunk were watching one of my streams one time. She was only watching. Drunk commented in the chat.
well. I'm just going to get ready to end this at the 2:30 mark. Basically, I'm going to play that teaser one more time because I really love it. So I'm going to do that right now. I love it. I
Great
love
job, buddy. You really outdid yourself this time.
Lovely.
Thank you. It's been really awesome having all of you on this stream together. I hope we can have more, maybe even get some more people in here at some point in time.
Maybe jump free PL. No, I'm
I don't think I'll get that big, at least not now. But you can always dream.
Well, maybe Bounty Hunter can just drop a few hints.
I did not see it.
We're getting hooked up here. Get me hooked up. I want Drunk Joe in this stream.
Come on, network.
I'll get Geode in on your stream.
Yes, Geode. If you're still in the chat,
I know Geode. I love
Geode, if you're here, you can come on the stream too sometime. I want you. I want the living rock in my stream.
And listen,
I
also have some connections to the best Star Wars character. I mean, the best Star Wars character.
Thank you, Chrono.
Force Ghost Jeremy. I know all the Jeremy accounts.
There's Geode.
Oh, he's Geode.
I wasn't sure, but now.
I shouldn't be saying he.
Oh yeah,
my apologies.
Non-binary rock man.
I'm sorry. I assumed your gender. Don't cancel me, Geode. I'm sorry.
I know who Geode is. That's a spoiler, but there's a hint I will give about Geode.
Okay.
They're a great person. It's actually someone you've talked to on Twitter. I won't say who. I know they are. Commander Tano, shut up. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. But no, I know.
Should we just reveal it?
You want to reveal who Geode is?
What are we revealing? What's going on?
Do you want to reveal it, Commander Tano? Do you want to reveal who the real Geode is? I'm going to say it right now. Are you ready?
Do it.
No, yes, maybe. Commander Tano. Huh?
Well,
do you want
by asking me that question, you've already revealed it's me.
So you're the real Geode.
Yes, Commander Tano, right here. This is Geode.
You know what? You shouldn't have revealed that because the real Geode could have showed up on the next stream and it could have just been her speaking through it, and I'd be like,
"There's
wait,
another
what?
Geode.
Camouflage level 100.
There's multiple Geodes. They're all around us.
I've learned to commune with Geode through the Force.
Oh man, you know what? That's a good note to end it on. We have the real Geode and Commander Tano on the same thing. So it has been wonderful having you guys here. It has been wonderful for
I know who I'm becoming.
Having everybody that's watched this video here, or the stream, not video. It will be a long video in the end, but it's just been great. I'm really blessed to have known all of you. So I'm just hope that you guys can come back on next Thursday for sure.
Sounds good, buddy.
Yep.
Yes.
I'll make sure I get to bed earlier.
Guys, did you expect such a big reveal tonight?
I didn't either, but we got what we got, and I'm very happy about it. So it has been wonderful. Everybody, just respect each other and respect yourselves, and may the Force be with you
always.
always love Geode and always always remember that Star Wars is great under George Lucas, and that's why they hired him back. So welcome back, welcome back to Star Wars, George. He's with Favreau and Filoni now, so we love you all, and you know my catchphrase. I mean, love you all, and until the next one, I hope to see you there. And goodbye, everybody. I know that this has been a long stream. It's been almost 3 hours, but honestly, when you get to talk about Rian Johnson, you can go on for a minute.
You mean days?
That is the truth.
We know what happened with Ryan, and then I'm not a Rian Johnson hater. I'm just a guy that wish he would do better with Star Wars if he's still making that trilogy of his, which I think he got thrown out a window for that. So I don't think he's gonna be doing a trilogy anytime soon, like they said he was. But if he does, he does. If he doesn't, well. Get on you, Ryan. But just keep
back in.
Like Knives Out 2.
What?
For
I was
100
just
million.
saying, it's been real. It's been great. I hope that you guys have enjoyed listening to the stream as much as we've enjoyed sitting here talking to one another and just talking about Star Wars. Shade, do you have any closing thoughts?
Besides the fact that I love everybody here and everybody that watched it, no, I'm good.
And we love Geo.
And Geo. Yeah.
Love you too.
Tanner.
All right.
No, you need to put a deep voice through. I love you too.
Love you guys.
Love you guys.
Batman.
Oh well.
Geode's now Batman, guys. Geode.
All right. It's been real, guys. I love you guys. It's been awesome. May the force be with us all.
We love you. See you later, everyone.